Live. And I just realised I've got the door open. I'll be back. Oh dear. My phone is going off. My frog in the sock, mate. It's probably just a notification letting everybody know that I've gone live. Anyway, how is everybody on this Friday night? I'm currently eating 2-minute noodles. Hello there, please leave a comment down below. I'm not sure if it'll let me read it, but this should be horizontal, I hope. But let me... Hello there, please leave a comment down below. Let me know that you're watching. I just want to say thank you to... G'day Shane, how are you today? Hey Bill, how are you going? I haven't had a chance to look at your channel yet, but I will subscribe when I get the chance. It's a Friday night here. Obviously, you're from Mount Gambier. Yeah, so... Oh dear. Yeah, not too bad. I'm just relaxing and having some noodles. Home cooked noodles, out of a packet, but cooked it here. I worked today at the festival centre, just moving some boxes from the basement to the first floor. Very easy job, but I've asked the staff there to request me by name, which is good. So every now and again I'll get a phone call saying you've been requested. Actually, the woman said, the woman from the agency that I use said, you've been summoned. I'm thinking, wow, that sounds rather magical. But yeah, for the most part, I'm doing okay. I had a shift at the Adelaide Oval cancelled due to low ticket sales, but I think there might be some other stuff happening. Okay. But thanks for coming in. I'm sorry about the headache. Hopefully it's not stress related or anything like that. Hang on, I'll just adjust the camera. Not very professional of me, but what are you going to do? But yeah, yeah, I would have had a shift on Sunday. And I was relying on that too, which is annoying. But I've recently just reapplied for going back on the dole. I didn't really want to, but the instability of the local job market has meant that just in order to pay rent and stuff like that, I've had to do it. I pondered it about 6 months ago, and a few people said not to feel shame about doing it, because that was my problem, because I'd been off welfare for about three years and 2 months or something like that. It'll be coming up to 3 months once it starts kicking in. But yeah, yeah, it's getting a bit crazy, right? And when I think what's suspicious about the shift being cancelled with the Adelaide Oval is there was a bit of workplace bullying, and I was a victim of it, and I get where it was coming from, and just people often react straight emotions, right? And they want to find a victim. They want to find a cause of the problem outside of themselves, so they project it onto other people. And some of it's unfair, and I think some of it may have gone back to the woman who does all the shifts. Hi there, whoever that second person is. If you like what I'm doing, please click like on the video. I'm gonna try and maybe do either a live show every week, or do like a sort of semi-television kind of episode like this, where I'm sitting down and not doing the walk and talk stuff, just so that I can get into the habit of doing this and talking for hours, getting stuff off my chest and whatnot, trying to be as entertaining as possible if I possibly can. I set up this channel for local name recognition, and it sort of worked. I've met a few people that they've become either subscribers, and I've met them in public, which is always amazing. It's fantastic to get that name recognition and stuff like that. Then there have been people that have been employers who have seen the fact that I've got a YouTube channel, which has interesting side effects sometimes. Yeah, so it's not doing too badly. When I get off here, I'm going to apply for a few jobs that I've seen I'd seek in the local area. I saw them a few days ago. I don't know whether they're still valid or not, but we've got to give it a try. What else? Yeah, just slowly but surely striving and surviving. There's things that goals and things that I want to do, and I've had to put on hold. Yeah, things are not the way that I want them to be. They're not the best. But the idea is to stay positive and strive forward and all that sort of stuff. Thank you for coming in, those people that do. I know people can see the numbers and stuff like that of how many people are watching and all this sort of stuff. But I appreciate everybody that comes in and views my channel. When I said that I set up this channel for name recognition, it was for job search purposes only. It's so that if someone Googles my name, they'll see my face. But I realized when I went to Google my name that Instagram is a better version of getting like Google SEO. So YouTube is good, but Instagram is a lot better. If someone's Googling your name, you get the instant like face recognition and stuff like that through Instagram more than you would with YouTube. But if you like what I'm doing, please click like. This is just a casual Friday night stuff. Let me know who you are, where you're from, that sort of stuff, and we can have a chat or whatever. I'm planning to do this semi-regularly. I should have done this a long time ago, just sitting down, talking, getting stuff off my chest, and interacting with people, getting people's opinions and ideas on certain things. I'm still going to engage in my social networks and try and figure out what work is available. It's been a real struggle to try and make rent payments and stuff as well. It's quite scary. I was lucky this week because I had remembered that one of the employers that I work for. So I'm employed by like multiple companies, but it's all part-time, like casual work, labour hire stuff. So sometimes it can be very sporadic, the work, the hours. Some of it can be like weeks without work. and that's not good for anybody. And I apply for anything and everything that comes up, because I want to be out there. I want to be helping people as much as I possibly can. And I am going to switch up things with my channel. I am going to do things that are a bit more education based, positive attitude stuff. I know that the vlogging stuff can tend to be a little bit negative, and I don't want to. I can feel it, like if I start talking, like if I'm outside recording a video and I start talking, and then I go down like a darker path, I'll actually stop the video because it's just like, I don't want to upload that, and I'll start again from scratch. Excuse me. Yeah, Bill, look after yourself. Maybe drink plenty of water. Hopefully it's not a migraine or anything. Hi there, Naked Wombat. How are you going? Please excuse me eating. I listened to you, and I have applied for and qualified for New Start Job Seeker Allowance, or whatever it's called now. Yeah, so I just had a shift cancelled on me for the weekend at a sporting arena, and their thing was not enough sales, ticket sales. But I think it's highly suspicious. I encountered a bit of like workplace bullying the last time I worked there, and I reckon some of that crap went back to, hopefully not, mate. You take care, to hope to catch up next time. Yep, Bill, no worries. Thank you for tuning in. Please click like on the video before you leave. That'd be grateful, helpful. But it's not essential, it's not mandatory or anything like that. But yeah, so one of the chefs, like, because we were like packed, what this particular sporting arena has done is made it so that the little kiosk where we sell meat pies and pie floaters and chips with gravy and stuff like that. Thank you very much for that. They've made it so that it's the cheapest thing at the sporting arena. So people do that price comparison and go, well, and not only that, they're active advertising. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that's thumbing up the video. Okay, so the customers do the price comparison and go, okay, no, we're just going to pay $5 for whatever, like a meat pie. But this causes a problem because there's a massive lineup, and the thinking in those who are not doing the job, those who are not serving food, the thinking is that if there's a lineup of customers, they're going to be impatient and they're going to be angry. But they're so popular, right, that there's going to be a lineup of people regardless of what's happening. And I'm the only guy doing the gravy because we've got one Bain Marie, and I've had to defrost bags of gravy in order to supply the demand, right? But slowly but surely they were cutting back on the hours. So they were, and now this is a business that makes nearly $89 million a year profit. And now they might claim to be a non-profit organisation, which just means that they, I think that just means that the money goes to shareholders rather than taxes and stuff. But what they'll refuse. So what happens? You've got this funnel of like, we've got the shop, the cheapest prices there, and everywhere else is like expensive, right? So everybody complains about the prices. So what they've done is they made one shop the cheapest. So you've got this funnel effect where everybody go, no, we're just going to eat there, rather than bringing like everybody's prices down to like an acceptable level. And if people have to decide between paying for something expensive or cheap, they'll go cheap. But if they have to choose between paying expensive or not buying anything at all, they will buy nothing at all. They'll just walk away. So operations is angry. They apply pressure to the chefs. The chefs become angry, come in and start yelling and screaming and, why haven't you done this? Why aren't you doing that? And you think, I'm standing there behind the bain-marie serving gravy to a customer, pouring gravy on hot chips. And the chef's saying, oh no, you need to be doing more, and you know, you're standing around doing nothing. Okay, there may have been a bit of a gap in between people ordering stuff that I needed to put gravy on. But out the back, it goes, go out the back and help people. I'm like, but in my head, I know that the people that are doing all the pies and stuff like that, they're cooking all the pies, those ovens are filled with food that is cooking. There's quite literally nothing more I can do. But he's trying to paint everybody else except for himself as the villain because they're applying pressure down. And they can't, right? For them to say, oh, ticket sales are down, like, well, if you made it affordable for everybody, you'd actually logically make more of a profit, because if more people can actually afford to buy stuff, then they will. Now, I don't know how much a bottle of, say, Coke, a Coke bottle, 600 ml, can range here. It can range anywhere from, say, $4.50 to $7 something, and it's $7 where I work. Now I get a staff discount, so it's like 50%. So I can get a bottle of Coke for like $3.50, but $7 to be the most expensive place. Like, and the thing is that the venue has a reputation of as being fairly pricey. But I think a few of the companies that they've brought on board, the ones they've got contracts with, hello there, whoever's just come in, those companies, I think will find out soon enough that they're not going to get the money back on their investment in the short term, because they jumped their prices up like by 30%, when they need to go the opposite way. They need to make things affordable at a time when we've got a cost of living crisis, and people aren't going to go out to a game because you have to choose between rent or medication, and which is something I've had to choose between, and staying home, or going out and playing watching football. You know, the obvious choice is you have to pay your rent. But I think most people aren't at that stage just yet. But a lot of it's getting colder, so people are just going to stay home and watch it on TV. But yeah, that's me having a bit of a rant, and it's not. I know it's not entirely positive, but I am going to do a few more little shorter videos that are a bit more focused and positive and stuff like that. If you are new to the channel, please leave a comment of who you are, where you're from, what you want to talk about. It'd be good. Leaving a like on the video helps me out as well. Please excuse my eating. It's just 2-minute noodles. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot of censorship, meaning that you can't actually talk about certain political parties in the United States, certain political leaders in the United States. You need to do what you need to do. The healthcare card is the most important for your budget. Glad I'm on discounted medicines. I get forced prescriptions or not. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm on like quite a few, 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 a month. One's for 2 are for type 2 diabetes, and one is, I think there's a couple for like hypertension, high blood pressure, and stuff like that. But yeah, you are right. The healthcare card will be the best thing for me. I've got a rather uncooperative doctor. They do this thing where they don't like writing like medical exemption things for Centrelink and stuff. So I'll have to have another chat with her and find out what's going on. But yeah, with the Oval cutting my shift, and they've said in there, oh, we've done it diplomatically and whatnot, but I just find it a little too coincidental after, someone had, tried to accuse me of standing around doing nothing, but I'm often the one that's on the ball most of the time anyway. I'm the one with the most experience, but because I'm the oldest, my shift will always get cut first. But the strange thing that they're doing is, what do you call it? So, because I'm preparing food, you'd expect me to be there half an hour before the gate opens, or at least, right? It takes 20 minutes for a bain marie to heat up properly. And the supervisor doesn't know what she's doing. The supervisor that, I have to interact with, no, she's a fantastic woman, but in terms of like what it is that we do, she doesn't know what she's doing. So she will just pass on what the operations team are telling her, and the operations team don't do anything. They just come in and say, they just say what they've been told to say, and they, make sure you do this, this, and this. It's like, yeah, but we're all on top of it, right? But I find that, what was I saying? Yeah, okay, so why gravy has to be served at a certain temperature, right? And part of the job like, say for example, the chefs do is they will freeze a whole heap of gravy and pea and ham soup, but the gravy can be frozen, defrosted, and frozen again. So to save time, what they do is they defrost the gravy a week beforehand, because like nobody's actually using the venue in between games. They have functions and things. It's a big, massive area, a big, massive venue. But for what they've been doing is they've been starting with the shifts at the same time as the gates open. So, okay, so when we get back to what I was saying, so when we get busy, right, I have to have a defrosted bag of gravy, right, preferably hot, right. I have to cut it open, pour it into the rest of it, the rest of what's left of the gravy as it goes down and it's getting used, right. So you can imagine there's thousands of people, they're all wanting, chips and gravy and stuff like that. So I'm ladling it out and then cut open a bag, and we go through probably 7 or 8 bags per per game. The gather round for the AFL, we went through about 15 bags of gravy, and they're 2 litre bags, so that's like 30 litres of gravy a day over the gather round. And yeah, so you can imagine I have to not only, so I get there either as the gates open or after the gates are open. So there's people already there. The supervisor, who doesn't know what she's doing, has tried to cook the gravy. But even while we're going, you have to cut open, you have to defrost frozen gravy. Hey, whoever's just come in, you have to defrost the frozen gravy, cook it like while you're actually serving gravy at the same time. So we've discovered that if you use the steamer, you can like melt and cook the gravy a lot faster than like a microwave. But yeah, it takes ages, right, to cook, and they don't cook enough because they don't do the job. They don't know the job. But over time, you sort of pick up, okay, I'm going to need 8 bags of gravy before I start. Now, they can be semi-defrosting, like half of them can be semi-defrosting, while at least 4 of them are ready. So when we do get smashed, like there's gravy being defrosted and cooked and ready for when we actually do whatever, you know. Hey there, how are you going? I lost a couple of people and then someone came back. So welcome to the Friday night chat. Just talking about stuff that's going on in my world and having to decompress and do whatever. But yeah, thank you once again for the thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Thinking of doing this every week. Same old story with supervisors and bosses, right? See, and that's one thing I become to sort of realise, that those that do the job know the job, and the job often changes, right? But with the chefs, they'll walk in, they'll do a quick assessment and then walk out, and they'll go to the next kiosk that they've got to deal with. They don't say please, they don't say thank you, just rude, but to yell at me, like, was in fact workplace bullying and stuff like that. I haven't reported it. Oh, you may have seen the Band-Aid. That was where I had, hang on, it's a bit hard to see that one. That's like not really a bruise or whatever, it's a burn. That was a splash of hot water, and so was that, but that's turned into a blister, and then the blister popped and it started to get infected. But yeah, that's because I was using hot water to defrost gravy, and it's not really where I want to be. It's not really what I want to do. And I know there are businesses locally that could benefit from just having me on the payroll full time, but I can't convince them of that, right? Because they're trying to penny pinch rather than invest in good people. And I have social media. I have a little bit of clout, not much, but enough where I could be promoting their business. I could be, talking them up and say, hey, look, this, bit of free advertising. Like, they must spend, goodness knows how much on advertising. Whereas what annoys me is they're encouraging other businesses to engage in, outsourcing of resources and whatever overseas. Well, how long would it take if you keep doing that before there's no local market, right? Obviously, they're trying to push the profit margins by getting cheap labour and stuff like that. But if nobody locally can afford your products, then nobody can afford your products. And there's a point where people will stop fighting back. And then they wonder why their businesses collapse. Well, why is nobody buying my products? Well, somebody else is outsourcing, or they can get it cheaper, or they'll just use AI. And you think, money's for people. Money's not for electronic stuff. Money's not for AI. What does AI need money for? Money is for people. It's for paying rent, buying food, clothing, and that sort of stuff. It's not for whatever. You know, my phone, getting notifications, and I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm just going to keep talking. Yeah, but yeah, I had a good shift at the festival centre today, and I said in the beginning of the video that was just, what it was is just moving, like there's Beauty and the Beast playing here in Adelaide at the festival centre, and I don't mind promoting that because the woman that I'm working with, she's not bad, like she's a good person. She's a bit tight, and you're talking about a business that earns $194 million a year, right, just locally, with all the shows that go through it and stuff like that, and the profit margins and whatnot. And she didn't want to pay two people. Well, to be fair, it was a one-person job, and she didn't want to pay the minimum of the 3 hours, which is the award rate for what we do. And I was, she goes, oh, I don't think it, is there like a minimum number of hours? I was like, yeah, 3 hours is the minimum. So she had to check, and then she had to get educated. But they're constantly trying to like skin the bone, get blood from the stone sort of thing. And you think, I don't understand. I understand the logic, but it's flawed. Like, you need to reinvest back into the economy for things to flow. Like when these rich companies, and some of them are charities as well, when they hold back, everybody suffers. Like if you're on the pension or welfare of any sort, and you can't afford, obviously, like, you're not going to be able to afford like a night at a luxury hotel. They disinvested from their business so much they don't understand why everything is falling apart around them. Yeah. And they do this thing where they pretend to be polite and stuff to their customers, and you think, well, you don't have to pretend if you're a decent person, right? You don't need to brown nose customers, right? Customers will spend money if they trust you, or they know that you do a good job if you turn up on time. So, for example, if you're a plumber, right, and just a sole trader, then you're going to have a better reputation than a plumber that works for a company that says, oh, I'll be there. That says, instead of saying, I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, or whatever the client says, and actually rocking up on time. If there's like a 4-hour range, there could be 8, could be 12. Well, what kind of message does that send to the customer, right? And especially if you've got like a lot of plumbers in like a massive business, then, and obviously the nature of plumbing and trades is that there is that variable time between like customers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just really, really, really strange that, yeah, you'd think reputation would be paramount with some of these things, and they only care about money, and but it's people that generate money, and word of mouth is the best form of advertising, but it's also the worst type of advertising. If you treat your customers like dirt, your staff, you treat your staff like dirt, then your staff will then say, hey, no, don't shop there, don't go there, don't. And I've done this myself, where people have said, oh, I want to go get a job through X agency. And I've said, no, don't go through them. Apply to the company that you want to work for directly, because you'll get more work. Because an agency will pay you a small amount of money, like whatever legally is required, but then they're charging like an administration fee on top of it all. And some of them have like exclusivity agreements and things like that. So the people that sign on to those agencies, they can't get off. They can't get off out of the contract. And I stupidly, 8 years ago, signed one of those contracts. I didn't put my name on it. I put the name of a certain German Führer, because I didn't want to be legally bound. I was sort of forced to sign that document, and I thought, well, if I don't have a choice, then my choice is to put a name of somebody that has been dead for a while. So that a lawyer wouldn't take it seriously. But then again, money's money, and they'll bend over backwards to keep that money flowing in. But yeah, some of them, if like they have an agreement where if you stop working with that company, you cannot cannot work for their client for like a year after. And but yeah, I can't figure it out sometimes. I've had companies trying to ruin my reputation. But here's the thing, like they have this weird thing regarding complaints. I did a business course, right? When I was unemployed, they made me do this business course, and part of the business course was a module on complaints, and how complaints are an opportunity to improve the business, right? So most of the time, a lot of people make mistakes when you go to complain, right? Let's say if you're a customer, you buy something and you're not happy with it. A lot of the time, the customer's not exactly correct. You buy a t-shirt and it's the wrong size. You should be able to swap it for the next size over, or it's just a mistake, whatever. That's most of the time, right? But some businesses they don't want to hear complaints, especially if they're things that will actually improve the company, the business. Oh, how dare you complain? So I tell a story about how I had a discussion in the 90s with business owners with political membership. Too many don't understand business can't profit if the people don't have money to spend. Yeah, and the same with the economy. The economy can't flow if you're overtaxing them. Or the other thing is you need to be taxing mining companies and billionaires and stuff like that at a proper rate, because what it does is it produces a scarcity of the local currency. Corporates, it produces a scarcity within the local economy, so that the actual, like the currency, is worth more. People in the crypto space understand this. So they have what they call a burn mechanism. So, but the reason with crypto is very scammy, but the reason Bitcoin is worth what it is because there's this inbuilt scarcity. There's like a halving. So the amount of Bitcoin that will ever be produced is 21 million coins. That number, the number of coins that gets blocks or whatever it is that gets mined, the number of blocks that can possibly be mined every year gets halved. So it's in the crypto miners' interest to be mining as much as they possibly can, but there's a finite number. In 40 years' time, they won't be producing any more Bitcoin, so it will be a scarce commodity. But there's also a burn mechanism where you can destroy various currencies, right? Now, in the beginning, like Bitcoin wasn't worth anything, so you could destroy the number of it so that it would be worth more later. Of course, now that a single Bitcoin is worth over 100,000 Australian dollars, I think it's like 150,000 Australian dollars or something like that. It's hovering around 100,000 US dollars. Like, you wouldn't burn it. You'd sell it, or you'd hoard it. But yeah, scarcity and things like that. But money has to flow. If so, the beautiful thing about being on the dole, someone said to me, he goes, slowly but surely, just stop working, and save all your money and just go to all the charities for the free food and stuff. Now, I'm not really, I still have like a moral qualm about doing stuff like that. Now, I'm doing it out of necessity, being frugal and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, the idea of just, no, I think that would destroy me mentally if I'm not actually actively contributing to society in some way. And I do want to work, and I do want to help as many people as I can, but I need to be in a position where I can do that. But I also live in a world where common sense is a superpower. I've heard that said a few times too. And because in a hierarchy, if you go against the rules, or if you go against that chain of command, whatever, you will get punished. And that's what happened with the chef. And I just didn't say anything. I wasn't answering him back. No, he just was yelling at me because I wasn't moving, because I was stunned. And just like, no, I'm working as fast as I can. And I knew that the pie ovens out the back were full and still cooking. So what am I supposed to do? Leave my station, leave the Bain Marie, to let other people, like, serve gravy or whatever, while they're supposed to be dealing with the people at the front. So there were 3 girls out the front, taking customer orders, right? So there's people coming at me with chips for me to pour gravy on, right? Constantly. And like, you get like a little bit of a lull, and that was the point when he walked in, saw me at that lull, and decided to unleash. And I just, yeah, no, I'm thinking of I don't know, maybe transferring back to where I was, because the Villiers pie shop is brand new, and they knew that I had like a good reputation. I turn up to the job, etc. Good customer service, whatnot. So on that night, the supervisor, on the night that the chef was yelling at everybody, the supervisor said, "Oh, do you want to go on the checkout?" And I'm very good at checkout, especially if the new checkouts are touchscreen, and sometimes it takes a while to find where everything is. But once I do, and got it sort of mind mapped, okay, it can go bang, bang, bang. So hot chips and gravy, FPOS button, please pay at FPOS. And you just keep doing that. Very, very basic stuff. The cash registers, they're not even cash. They don't take cash at this particular venue. It's all credit card. But the FPOS system is just so easy to use that it feels like hard work going back to like primitive systems. But yes, I know that there's like a helpline that the company has, but I think from what I've heard, hello there, whoever came in. From what I've heard, a lot of those those helpline things that companies provide are there, like HR in America. They're there not to help you, they're to mitigate any sort of lawsuits and things like that. So a toxic company will stay toxic. And there are people coming and going. Like you see them on their work app, coming and going. Oh, people leave to go. They just leave because they're being treated like dirt, and they find better work, longer hours, higher rates of pay. The the stupid thing about this particular employer is they did a deal with the union, who was pushing for higher wages, right? And the agreement that they came to was that everybody gets the Sunday rate, like for every shift. The problem is that everywhere else will pay, but as a flat rate. So everybody everywhere else will have their flat rate, normal flat rate, which should be less than this particular venue, right? They have your day of the week kind of amount, but everywhere else on the Sunday will pay like a double pay rates on the Sunday. The other thing that I find that companies are doing is they're not paying bonuses for Saturdays. And if you've got kids and you have to take time away from your kids, where's the reward for doing that? You know, I can understand, like that's why you'd be paid more on a Sunday, because of religious reasons, but also you want to be able to spend time with your family. So when you pay someone more on a Sunday, they've got that, there's more incentive to put their family time on hold, come in and do some work on a Sunday. But yeah, but it does cause problems, because there are companies that I don't really want to work for, but they will pay more on the Sunday. And then if they're doing this stuff where they're cancelling shifts. See, the funny thing is, this venue has multiple different companies that work through it. So I could be like pouring gravy on hot chips and meat pies and pie floaters and all that sort of stuff. Or I could be paid for a Sunday rate, a proper Sunday rate, same venue, selling tickets to the event from a different company. And if it's a sellout game, I don't have to do a whole lot, right? And then, but the problem with that is that because the venue is the client, they could say, well, we like the game sold out. We don't need as many ticket sellers here. And you think, okay, but so they're saving money, but then once again they're not reinvesting it back into the
the local economy, they just think short term, right? One of the reasons why China is a powerhouse is they have these 100-year plans, and they implement them. They think strategically, long term, generational stuff. Whereas here, it's all money, 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 short term, short term, short term gain. And yeah, I'm constantly fighting with management to try and get more shifts, more hours. And they'll say things like, oh, we're worried about burnout. Okay. But I'm only working 1 day a week. How do I get burnout? Another thing is, if you Google burnout, like the causes and things like that, just find out more about it. Emotional burnout is like only affects people, or affects most people under the age of 40. So people over 50 have an advantage in the workforce in that they're less likely to get burnt out because their children have grown up. Their children are often like adults, so they don't have that stress. They don't have the financial stress of putting a kid through school and all the rest of it. You know, the thing, I don't have kids, but you know, things that people talk about, the stresses of raising children and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's just like, oh my God. But I've been with this particular venue for over 6 months, and by law, they have to offer me the opportunity to work there permanently. And I'll have to go over the email again, make sure I'm reading it properly and the rules and stuff like that. I'd work there permanently, but they need to guarantee shifts. They can't be like chopping and changing and using ticket sales as an excuse, especially if they're making like nearly $100 million of profit every year. There's no real excuse for anything like that. But yeah. So how's the weather where you are? Today was very blue sky and not exactly warm. It was 16 degrees and the sun was out. The last few days have been wet and wild and rainy and all that. But yeah. And if there's any topics and things like that you want me to cover in videos, I'm going to take notes and stuff. If you leave suggestions, blue sky, not as cold as it has been, yeah. But yeah, it's always good when, it's funny with winter, like you can get a 24-degree day, like 3 or 4 days in a row, 24 degrees, sun's out, the middle of winter. But then people ask me in America, so what's the, you know, do you get like snow and sleet? And it's like, no, we get hail. When the worst it gets is hailstones, but and we get a lot of heavy rains and things. But it's fairly early in the season. It's only just been winter for like a week or so. But yeah. What was the other guy? What was the other thing? Yeah, so I've had a couple of shifts this week, but I'd gotten dangerously close to not being able to make a rent payment, but I got paid yesterday for some work that I did a couple of weeks ago. Some companies pay fortnightly, some pay weekly, and the week got chilly with snow in the other side of the Blue Mountains and somewhere on the mountain. Somewhere on the mountain, what happened?
Yeah.
And I do want to thank everybody that has come into the live. There's a maximum of like 3 people. I understand it's a Friday night. It's still early in the night, but I don't know where in the Blue Mountain it snowed, but I live downwind of it. Okay, that's not particularly warm. That's going to be quite chilly, in fact. But yeah, yeah, I'm lucky. I'm really, really lucky to be where I am. The meth heads, and I figured out it was meth heads because had a friend. I've got a friend who interacts. He goes to all the local free food places, and they turn up. And he used to be like a journalist, and he unfortunately went down the conspiracy theory path a little bit, and he believes all sorts of bullshit. But this guy was telling me, he goes, about the the people that live near me, and the people who were squatting in the property next door, and they, like, the housing trust knows about it because they tried to repair the property, and then they've tried to break in to the next property again after it's been boarded up. Excuse me. And now they're in like the unit next door to that one. And they got free and easy access through the front door. But the guy told me, because he knows that I'm just doing political satire, but all my stupid acting is no longer fiction level. Yeah. I said in 2020, it was the year that The Onion could not out satire reality itself. It was like 2020 was crazy, but I don't understand why certain political parties don't vet like the constituents, not the constituents, the people, not the constituents, the politicians within their ranks. Well, they don't vet them for like IQ purposes and stuff like that. I mean, that's not how our system works. It's all about votes and popular voting and numbers and stuff. But if you were representatives, if you were representing a certain area, you'd want like your best and brightest. I mean, I understand why some people are not progressive and forward thinking and embracing different cultures and different belief systems and things like that. They want to push like a conservative sort of line. If you look at the mocking I gave them several years ago, it looks like the nonsense we hear from today's nutters. Yeah. Sarcasm just doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah. There was, I think Sean McAuliffe did a character that would be seen as politically incorrect now. I think it's Boris. I can't remember the act, but someone like extremely mentally challenged, and that's the equivalent of the people running, like the people running in the United States right now. There's someone. Yeah. Now I've done some comedy, but I would never go down that path. because to me it's punching down. Like, you don't make fun of people that are born a certain way, or they can't do certain things, or you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed, like, that's why politicians are usually a good target for comedy, because they've got money, right? And they're doing stupid things with taxpayers' money. Oh, that's the other thing. At times they tempt me to bring Charlene back. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you've probably been banned from Facebook so many times. But I try to keep my nose clean, and I try to find the humour in things, in the memes and things that I make. And very often the memes, I don't even have to try. The last one I made, all I did was cut and pasted my photo over the top of the photo they'd used of a woman. I didn't even change the name of the woman, kept it there. And they are so oblivious to the words that they're saying in the advertising. They don't understand there's puns in there. They don't understand there's sexual innuendo in there. They don't understand how, like, they don't proofread anything, you know. There's a movie called Idiocracy, and when I first saw it, I thought it was unbelievable, because it was meant to be unbelievable of how idiotic the political systems were, how stupid people are becoming, because there was a point where we used to have gatekeepers, so that now we do have gatekeepers, but it's for the wrong reasons and the wrong methods. Hello, person that came into the room. Please like the video, leave a comment, let me know who you are. But yeah, Idiocracy was to make fun of what would happen if you remove the gatekeepers of information. So, for example, with Wikipedia, anybody can post anything, slightly better than what it was, because there are fact checkers who go off and they police it a little bit better. But Wikipedia in the beginning had no gatekeepers at all, so it was just a free for all. By gatekeeper, I mean like a moderator. You know, like people used to moderate forums and stuff like that. You know, there used to be hard and fast rules about what you could say on YouTube, what you could get away with, what you couldn't. And there were people that pushed the limits of that too. But these days, I think someone said something in a video I watched today about how YouTube's, and it was behind the scenes, and it was not behind the scenes, but an insider. So take it with a grain of salt. But what was happening was, someone had said that they were no longer openly removing content that was hate speech or anti-trans or anti-Semitic or whatever. And like Facebook's been like that for a while, and all of the major social media companies are all behind Trump now. So if you are talking about a certain part of the world which is undergoing a depopulation, and like an intentional depopulation of a certain group of people based on their genetics, then you can't openly say that. I've had to use code speech, and people on TikTok will use code speech, so they'll say unaliving rather than sort of stuff like that. This video, when I finish recording it, will have to go through a processing, and like some of it that is just to put the captions down the bottom, but some of it is to process politically what's being said. So there's lots of censorship everywhere. I've heard one guy say that because this is a guy that travels extensively, he said that the censorship in America is worse than the censorship in China, and it's true. And I think that a lot of the recent rigging, the recent voting, was rigged in America, which is ironic because the 2020 election wasn't, but the 2024 one should have been in dispute. I think Kamala Harris should have said, "Hey, this isn't right. This isn't normal," and I'd like a recount just to make sure that the numbers are correct. US this generation breaking American greatness. They really don't like any sort of criticism of the United States coming from outside. Right? I tried to warm. There's a woman by the name of Mimi from Appalachia. I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly. And she had a go at me because I said I prefer to listen to black women about the situation that's going on in the United States because they are the most likely to be adversely affected by any negative policy regarding women's rights, regarding reproductive rights, regarding hiring and firing practices, against the removal of DEI and things like that. And she said, "Oh, what about Candace Owens?" And I just face palmed. Like, Candace Owens is not representative of the black community in America. She's doing whatever she can to create controversy and get paid for that, right? And yeah, it's strange to see these people switch sides sometimes. Like, there's a YouTube channel called Breeze Politics, I think, and the thing is they're supposed to be pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, but they've got Tucker Carlson on there, they've got Candace Owens on there, and these other formerly Republican right-wing conservative people being pro-Palestine or anti-Israel, and you think, where's that coming from? You weren't that way before. And I think what they're doing is they're switching. They've seen, okay, this is where the zeitgeist is going. This is an opportunity to be seen as good people on the right side of history. So I was following that particular YouTube channel until I started seeing those so-called celebrity talking heads, and you think, no, why are they saying all this stuff? And it's just to try and maintain relevance, I guess. But they never had any integrity to start with. So it's a bit of a much of a muchness. But yeah. But I'm going to end this here. I need to take a toilet break, take some medication and stuff like that. But thank you for tuning in. I might pop on again. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the likes up and the conversation. I watch footage of feminist protests in Australia and have been to one myself. It's mixed, as it should be. Take care. But that's good to know. Those things are mixed because
supposed to be dismantling things like gender rather than having like one gender only space. But yeah. Anyway, I will talk to you soon. I'll be back when I can. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.